Okay, so here's the thing. I'm 30. I don't own a yacht. I don't run an underground casino. I don't do any of the things with which the government would be super curious to know about my business, know about my life, and things like that. Yet somehow I've managed to experience the kind of government overreach that most people only have to worry about in their 70s when they're fighting for their pension. Who needs a midlife crisis when the government gives you early access to all sorts of financial horror stories like the one that I'm about to share with you? And remember, I'm talking about this story now in January 2025 about something which happened in December, end of December 2024, so just a month ago or a few weeks ago, for a situation where I left Germany according to my tax residency, according to my apartment's address. Nothing is there anymore in Germany since February 2021. So this is a story of almost 4 years later, what the government can still do with you. I'm going to also share all of the documents that I have so that you guys know that everything was actually done right by my side. But the Finanzamt still managed to figure out a way of selling my stocks without my consent from the portfolio that I have, which was absolutely insane. My first thought to this was that probably there's some kind of hacking happening. I don't understand because it's showing different kind of numbers and I have not made any kind of sale order on my portfolio. To show you this, I will just quickly take you to the Scalable Capital portfolio. Right now I'm lying at 1.16 million euros. I asked them about this specific thing. So if you take a look at the situation here on 23rd December 2024, iShares Core MSCI World was sold with 80 stocks for 8,342 euros. I take a look at this and I'm like, I definitely did not make any of this sale. Like, I don't know what is happening because I believe in just investing in good companies and just leave it there. This is also how my portfolio became so big of like 1.16 million. And if you take a look at the total profit here is 858,000 euros. That means I have invested around 300,000 euros, something like that. And from the 300,000 euros, I got 858,000 euros of pure profit. And this was not done by trading. This was simply done by picking the right companies and just leaving it there and let the money grow for you. So that really made me a little bit suspicious that what is happening, because this is a transaction that I did not do. So I reached out to Scalable Capital and it was holiday time, so I was not able to reach the customer support. So I tried to reach the team on Instagram and some of the previous colleagues who are working at Scalable Capital and so on. So I spoke to them and I said this is happening. I don't know what's going on. So they got in touch with the team about this. Then afterwards, I got a response from the Scalable customer support on 8th January, which also makes sense because it was Christmas. And if you would take a look at this response, it's just absolutely insane. So Bada Bank AG has now informed us that a seizure was made on your account. Bada Bank AG has therefore sold securities without my consent, without sending me a single document stating that you owe this and this money to somebody. So till this time, it was anyways a big surprise. I don't understand what's going on. I don't understand how this money has been sold. Probably it was some kind of hack. So here it says like that, and paid out the amount this and this to the creditor as documented in your account. The attachment has been lifted since January 5th, 2025. Scalable Capital does not have and will not receive any further information about the process, for example, about the creditors. You can fully control your account again. So you have Scalable Capital and all of the securities which are essentially buying in Scalable Capital are held by Bada Bank. So it needs to be done with a bank. It's not really Bada Bank, just like if you would use any other bank in Germany, as long as it is a bank and it gets orders from the government, they are going to make the seizure and they're going to make the sale. The absolute insanity on this is that we had made all of our tax submissions for the year of 2021. Now think about the story here. 2022, I was fully in Germany, right? I was fully tax resident. In 2021, these taxes for the month of January and February, for the money that I made running my business in Germany, had to be paid. My tax accountant reached out to them, and then afterwards we got the declarations for the income tax, and we also got the declaration for, I think it was, Umsatzsteuer, so the VAT that we had to pay. But we had not yet received the declaration for Gewerbesteuer, even though we had made all of these declarations, and we're waiting for their final statement so that we can make the payment. So I already made the payment for the income tax when I receive the confirmation from Finanzamt. I already make the payment for the Umsatzsteuer when I receive for these 1 month and 26 days, right? So I do all of that. Now the situation comes that because I speak to the tax accountant and I ask what is this happening? Because with all of this story which was unfolding, I also kept my tax accountant in loop in Germany. So she said like that we have not yet received the Gewerbesteuerbescheid, and it is possible that probably they just like sold your securities to get that money from there, even though we have not received any kind of documents. She asked me, "Did you receive any document?" I was like, "No, I have not received any document whatsoever from them." And previously, I have this experience that Finanzamt also contacts you via email if they're not able to reach you or like there's some kind of situation. That's how the audit happened previously with the German Finanzamt. So this time I was also hoping for the same. I thought like before they're going to like have this kind of insanity where they tell the bank to sell my stocks and take the money without any kind of notification, without any kind of like details whatsoever. I was like, there's going to be something like that. It is not going to be a scenario where all of a sudden like the money just disappears from the account. So probably okay, they have made the sale, but before they take the money away, they're probably going to reach out to me and tell me like, this is the money which is spent. I still get absolutely no details whatsoever from the Finanzamt throughout this time. So even though they know every single time we have received the income tax Bescheid, I have made the payments without any kind of delays. So now this time, this happens that all of a sudden the Gewerbesteuerbescheid is in question. So what my this tax consultant does or the accountant does is she calls the Finanzamt because we got the details that this is the Finanzamt in Stade and they're supposed to have made this kind of seizure and so on. So she calls them and asks them like what's going on. Then when my accountant actually calls the Finanzamt and asks them why did this happen, they said, oh, you have not paid the Gewerbesteuer. She tells them that we have not received any Gewerbesteuerbescheid. It's like, no, but we sent, like, it must be somewhere. But she's like, no, like, every single document we receive from you, we stamp it and it is catalogued properly. And this has happened for every single declaration that we have received from you so far. And there hasn't been any single thing which has gotten missing so far. So then I was like, yeah, like, but it is not our problem. We then took more money out, which was necessary. We actually were happy that we were able to get any money whatsoever from the account, which is insanity, which is absolute insanity, because what my tax accountant told me afterwards is that they took 1,500 euros extra than what I was supposed to pay. And the good thing about this is that I actually did get the refund from the Finanzamt very quickly. After my tax accountant called them, I think within 3 or 4 days, I got the 1,500 euros extra back. But still, that they made this seizure of 8,342 euros and took the liberty of taking more money out also without any kind of consent from me is insane. They said we also had no way of contacting him. We had no way of reaching him, which is again another lie, because previously Finanzamt wrote to me via email, they reached out to me via email, and in this document itself, in which they can connect me with my tax ID number, with my tax number, they have the details of the accounting company which makes all of the declarations on my behalf. And also at the time when we were submitting the document for this tax residency certificate, we mentioned that for any kind of future communication, please contact this and this agency, this and this company in Germany for any kind of like further tax things. So there was nothing left from our side to make sure that we pay whoever owes us money. This is important because I know if there's even a €1 pending with the Finanzamt, the €1 can quickly become 10 euros, 100 euros, 1,000 euros. The interest keeps on rising, and then comes a situation where they're going to come and they're going to put a lien on your house or on one of your assets. But I honestly never thought that I'm going to see something like this in real life, at least happening to me. Because like I mentioned, my businesses are completely online businesses. Every single online transaction I have, they directly come into my bank accounts. I do not have a physical setup. I have completely digital workspace. That means if they want to check anything, they want to take a look at some kind of transactions, things like that, they have the complete freedom to do that. And for the people who think that, yeah, like, Finanzamt will not do something like that, or like, the German government cannot just like take the money from my bank account and like, sell it, or like take the stocks from my account and like, sell it somewhere. This is a living proof that things like these are happening. And think about the situation. This is happening when on my Scalable portfolio, I do not have my German tax ID number, I have my Romanian tax ID number, I have my Romanian address, and the tax residency established in Romania. I also have the tax residency certificate from Romania after that time. So even though I'm a tax resident of a different country, German government has the capacity of selling your assets on your behalf. What on your behalf? Like without your consent. Like on your behalf would be a different story. Okay, like I don't have money, take my assets. but that they sell things without your consent, like that is something which I simply did not believe, did not expect. So this is something which you all have to keep in mind. I mean, of course, it's a different story for me because my business is on a different stage. It's probably also some of you guys who are watching this video who are starting the business. Some of you are already much further ahead. So there are going to be different precautionary tales that I would have for you guys in different walks of life. But it's just that what I find really important is that whatever these kind of business things happen, nobody really shares about these not so nice things which are happening, and I want to do that so that you have a very clear picture of what kind of things are happening when you're running a business, what kind of things you need to watch out for. And this is really one of them, that you try to make sure that you are essentially like reaching out to the Finanzamt over and over and over again, because I did not like this. I did not like that they sold my stocks because I was having a nice profit on the MSCI World still, and they simply sold it, realized the capital gains now, and then I would have to also pay tax on that, which is absolute insanity. So just something that you have to keep in mind. And things are only going to get worse. If you think that something like this has not happened before, this actually happened in the 2000s when Romania was going through a financial crisis, and they essentially did a massive seizure of assets and wealth from wealthy individuals. Simply right now, I do not have an option. Germany is not an option from all the horror stories, not just like what I've listened. Like I have not listened to like many stories like these because most of the people I speak to, these are like normal people who are having a job. They pay their income tax declarations, and it's fine. What they pay their income tax declaration, the money gets deducted from the pay that they receive, right? So there's generally no drama happening. For the people who have their own businesses, I think this is a very important thing that you have to keep in mind, that you simply have to keep reaching out to them because Finanzamt doesn't give a shit. They don't give a shit if it is their fault, if it is their problem, if something didn't happen from their side. They didn't try to contact, they didn't try to reach, they didn't try to reach the contacts which are actually in Germany or me in Romania or me via email and tell me that this is the money I need to pay, that the Gewerbesteuerbescheid is there. But they simply greifen in the stock portfolio and essentially they just take the money away, which is crazy. Like I honestly never thought I would see something like this. So my recommendation to fellow business owners is really going to be that first of all, like have a tax lawyer close to you, because there would be scenarios where you would be really fighting the state government agencies. I had to fight the Romanian tax agency, and that costed me almost 20,000 euros. And this is like not a nice story, but I uploaded that video on New Year's and I deleted the video afterwards because I was like, the video just didn't do justice, because last entire year I have not uploaded many videos because a lot of shit was happening and a lot of not nice shit was happening. It was essentially only like bad news after bad news after horrible news after bad news, and all of that took a little bit of beating, and I didn't really have the brain capacity to essentially like sit down and talk about it on the YouTube videos, because when you're in the middle of the situation, you want to essentially figure out a way to solve it. And now, like, fortunately, I have some time. I'm in Thailand right now. I'm enjoying my time. I'll be probably here for a few months, and I have the time to essentially like see what's happening and essentially tell you about these things again. So for the business owners, just like really watch out that you're not having everything also just as a goodwill from the Finanzamt, that like, okay, like they're going to send the documents. Sometimes you have to run behind them so that they don't like seize your assets, which is insane. Like, you know, what is like essentially holding them back from doing something like this to one of the real estate that you owe? These kind of things are also happening. And in the future, with more aggressive taxation policies and more aggressive supervision from the tax authorities from all over the EU, I don't know like how things are going to look like in the future. So I'm really curious. I think it's not really the last of it. I think I'm probably going to experience more shittery happening in the future. But in any of those scenarios, like I will be here to give you the details about it. So like, you know, give you a quick log about that. For fellow people who have their own businesses, I'm planning on starting a small group so that people, it doesn't matter like which country you're coming from. If you're in Europe and you have your own businesses, you're a digital nomad, whatever, I'm going to launch a community soon where we can all join in and essentially share our experiences, get support from each other and so on. So keep an eye out for that. That would be happening in the third video from now. and I will essentially see you there. Right? I hope this. I don't know if it taught you something, um, but I hope at least you learned that nothing is safe, essentially. And this is not a nice realization to have at the age of 30 when you have the entire life to look forward to, because it makes things difficult to plan. You don't know, like, what kind of things make sense, what kind of things are actually safe. Only thing which comes to my mind, which I essentially really believe in, is also like keeping a decent amount of cash on the side. Because as long as the money is lying in the bank accounts and these are like just numbers that the finance arm can quickly like ask to drop from the bank account and like take into their accounts and stuff, I don't feel so safe. This is not going to be a problem for 99.5% of the people, probably 99% of the people. But for those 1% people who have their own businesses, whose businesses are thriving and things like that, these are horrible shit shows which can happen, and you need to watch out for this, because this is just 8,000 euros. It could also have been that it's 80,000 euros, it's 800,000 euros, right? And my stock portfolio is big enough. They can like essentially they can fucking make the sale of everything. But then I have to like run with lawyers and things like that, and the legal fees really adds up. This is something I really learned with my time from Romania. It would have been even more expensive. My lawyers mentioned that if I would have taken tax legal services from PwC, Ernst& Young, things like that, it could have gone close to 50,000 euros. To get the money back from the Romanian government of 143,000 euros, which they also had made a seizure of, and which they afterwards said that, sorry, that decision was wrong, and that was not the right evaluation. And from 9th January onwards, so we received this declaration that they made the wrong calculations, and that the decision is annulled. That means I am supposed to get my 143,000 euros back. But in order to do that, they're going to do a second audit in which they have mentioned that the 100,000 euros is not a problem, but the rest of the 43,000 euros we have to see. But until this second audit completes, I do not see my money back. So these kind of like absolute insanity is happening, and I'll keep you guys posted. The Romania story is also going to come up. If you have any kind of your own stories, things like that, please mention in the comments below. And for the community of the expat business owners, keep an eye out for that for the third video from now. I'll see you in the next video.